Es eso, gente, estoy medio malita, ¿vale? Así que lo siento mucho si no estoy muy... o si estoy hablando bajito y tal. Tardecita de chill. Bueno, no sé hasta qué punto tardecita de chill, porque el juego en verdad me da todo el mal rollo, gente. Gente, cuando yo he abierto el juego antes para comprobar que funciona en stream, me ha pedido la hora, ¿vale? El juego me ha pedido la hora y yo pues le he puesto la hora, porque me ha pedido la hora, ¿sabes? Entonces pues le he puesto la hora. Y el juego me ha dicho que muchas gracias por poner la hora, que es la segunda vez, que he puesto la hora bien. Gente, que me lo he instalado hoy, que es verdad que yo jugué hace mucho tiempo y lo quité, pero ¿cómo puedes saber que son 2 veces si el juego es pirata y lo he desinstalado? ¿Cómo sabe? Si lo desinstalé. Es pirata, gente. Ahora me ha dicho que ponga la hora que yo quiera, mi hora favorita. Que me lo he ganado por poner las cosas 2 veces. Yo creo que voy a ser buena gente y voy a decirle la verdad otra vez. También me ha dicho que no tiene forma de saber cuál es la hora correcta. ¿O será que no pudiste resistirte y me diste la hora correcta otra vez? ¿Cómo sabe, gente? ¿Cómo lo sabe? ¿Cómo lo sabe? Después de todo sé que disfrutas de poner la hora correcta. Y, la verdad... ahora quiero saber qué tan precisa es la hora 5:08 pm. Usemos otra barra deslizante. A ver, ya pasa 1 minuto. ¿Sabes una cosa? Sin importar la precisión del reloj, lo estoy pasando genial ajustando estas configuraciones. Siento que estoy conociéndote mejor y entiendo cómo te gustan las cosas. Gente, me está tirando la caña al juego. Gente, reunir datos es bueno. Es un juego autista, gente. Por eso me entiende, gente. Ojalá tuviera más barras deslizantes, pero ya las usamos todas. Esta soy yo cuando me hago un personaje en un MMO, gente. Esta soy yo cuando juego un MMO. Quizá pueda inventar algunas barras deslizantes nuevas para reunir más datos sobre ti. Es un juego auténtico como tú. No debería ser muy difícil. Si voy a crear alguna, pero ¿qué hace mi arma? Que me puede dejar jugar, por favor. Deberían estar listas la próxima vez que inicies el juego. Tengo que bajar el volumen. Eso sí lo sé. Sonido. Perdón, gente. ¿Escucháis el ruido de fondo de la oficina? No, pero cuando empieza a hablar en plan... Stanley, no sé cuánto. Entonces pues suena muy alto. Ya no mucho. ¿Y ahora? Bueno. ¿Y si salimos al escritorio y lo volvemos a abrir, gente? Es que quiero saber qué me dice ahora. Uy, podría tener abiertas cosas nazis. Podría tener abiertas cosas pervertidas. ¡Hala! Ajusta la barra deslizable hasta que la computadora sea apenas visible. Más o menos, ¿no? Cosas nazis. Podría tener pony ahí, gente. Podría tener guarrillas ahí. Ajusta la barra deslizante hasta que el perro y el gato sean amigos. ¡Oh, gente! Ajusta la barra deslizante hasta que el número 5 se convierta en el 9. Ajusta la barra deslizante hasta que el menú cambie. No cambia. Es mentira, gente, es mentira. Qué lindo todo junto otra vez. Bueno, no es que como este channel yo he visto esas cosas antes. Hombre, no me han sido unos pervertidos todos. ¿Cuál de estas dos palabras inventadas te resulta más interesante? Ocuboincal y frimósico. Ocuboincal. No ajustes la barra deslizante. ¿Sabes qué hora es en este momento? ¿La hora que es en este momento es la hora correcta? Pues no, porque antes no era correcta, ahora menos, pero bueno. Ocuboincal. Pervertido Lord Valiant. Bueno, ¿y qué es el tiempo? Sí, ¿no? Gente, sí. El tiempo sí. ¿Hay algo acerca de ti que no me hayas dicho? Sí. Ay, ya empezamos con las mierdas, gente. Ay, el juego era tan simpático y tan bonito y ahora ya me da mal rollo, gente. Ahora ya no quiero. ¿Me va a salir un susto? ¿Tengo algún moderado que lo banee, porfi? Que me va a salir un susto, gente. Yo te ayudo, pero no me asustes, por favor. Yo te ayudo, pero no me asustes. Ah, mira, puedo verlo en la pantalla del stream. Sí, sí, claro que sí. ¿Esto qué es Doki Doki? Esto es el Doki Doki, gente. Gracias, William. El Doki Doki, gente. Socorro. Empezamos ya. Porfa, decidme si se escucha muy fuerte, ¿vale?
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
un amigo
worked for a
bien.
company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard.
Anda, como yo en el
Orders came
trabajo.
to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Está feliz, gente.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget.
Metió el
He had
pito,
been at his
gente.
desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Oh. Entonces se escucha bien, ¿no? Mucho texto, dice. Totalmente. Voy a bajarle la sensibilidad al ratón. Mejor, ¿no? Es que da mal rollo, gente. Yo lo tengo pirata. Yo lo juego pirata, lo da. Pero yo no he dicho nada, ¿eh? Yo no he dicho nada. ¡Hola! No me acuerdo de nada, la verdad. Me acuerdo de la parte que me dio miedo.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I hate... Odio los lunes, pone.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't
¿Quién
find
se
a trace
apellidó,
of his
gente? Pone ahí.
co-workers.
¿Quién la taza? ¿Quién se apellidó? Tengo miedo. Hola, King. Tengo miedo, gente. ¿Puedo coger el lápiz? Padre número 1. Ahí pone smile, creo.
Stanley went around touching every
Lo
little
admito
thing
yo.
in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Que vaya para adelante, vale, pesado. Esto es la Sierra de Aracena. Faltan lámparas. Pero ¿de qué año es este juego, gente? Están usando el sistema operativo de mi abuela que está muerta. Es un juego de terror. No, no. A ver, para mí sí, pero no debería. 420, gente. 420. Se supone que no es un juego de miedo, pero a la verga. Ah, ¿sí? Ah, no sabía, le estaba dando clic izquierdo. Sí, ok, Mila. Madre mía.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Le hago caso, gente. Le hago caso. A la derecha no, no. ¿Queréis que le haga caso? ¿Queréis que le haga caso? Izquierda, derecha, izquierda, derecha, izquierda, derecha. Yo quiero eso, ¿no? A la derecha. Coño, se me ha lagado. Qué mal rollo, tío. Qué mal rollo da el puto juego. 50-50. Da miedo, está oscuro, no quiero. No quiero, gente. No, F la anarquía. Has hecho lo contrario de opuesto al derecho del narrador. ¿Qué? ¿No le he hecho caso al narrador? ¿No le he hecho caso al narrador?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
¿De verdad tienen un whiteboard manager? ¿Un puesto de trabajo? ¿Por qué pone RIP for ons? Se ha muerto alguien en la oficina, gente. No me gusta. Me da mucho... Se ha cambiado la diapositiva sola. De 800 de IQ. Idea más development. What? Es que está en inglés, gente. Me da mal rollo. Me da mal rollo, gente. Ese es el tipo de cosas que comenté ayer que me da mucho mal de esto. Me estás dando miedo, Mila. ¿Puedo cerrar la puerta?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Aquí hay muchas cosas con las que me podría suicidar y dejar de jugar esto.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Esto tiene que ser algo chunguísimo. Hola, Black. Esto
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way.
Pero,
as it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Pero yo soy una mujer y ahí hay una escoba. Es que...
Are you Are you really still in the broom closet?
Esto tiene que ser algo
Standing
secreto,
around doing
gente.
nothing? Why?
Una
Please
TF4
offer me
Final
some
Fantasy.
explanation.
Me da miedo,
I'm genuinely confused.
No puedo.
You do realize there's no choice
Que
or
sí,
anything
que
in
me
here,
voy
right?
ya, coño,
If
pesado de
I'd
mierda.
said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever.
Es verdad, brilla
I
un
never would
poco.
have thought to
No
mention
puedo coger. No puedo coger. Me voy para que se calle, ¿vale? Pero eso tiene que ser algo secreto.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Se ha cortado. Gente, ¿por qué se corta? Abajo está rojo, gente. Para arriba. ¿Va a dar susto? ¿Va a dar susto? Quiero hacer lo contrario que me digan, pero es que me da susto, gente. Voy a subir. Ah, si esto también es rojo, tócate los huevos. Si vas a susto. Me estoy fiando de ustedes, ¿eh? ¿Hola? Coño, tiene un... Perdón. Perdón. No sé. No sé por qué me ha asustado, perdón. Pero tiene marrón, solo tanquea, what? Tengo una sensación. El dinero es para robar, pero no el tuyo, por supuesto. Wow, eso es un bolso súper bonito. Hostia, el director es un ladrón, gente. No hay sustos en el juego. No existo, gente, no tengo reflejo, soy un vampito. Soy un vampito. Se ha cerrado sola, gente. Se ha cerrado sola, gente. Estoy tranquila, vamos, estoy tranquilísima. Estoy tranquilísima.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
No. ¿Cuál era, gente?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
¿Qué cojones? Los putos millonarios. ¿Estamos en el show de Truman o cómo? Hola, ornitorrinco. Este juego es súper de tranqui, ¿eh? Ornitorrinco, muchas gracias por el follow, tesoro. Gracias por tu alma. El show de Stanley.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
¿Por qué se corta? Tiene una pinta de trampa. ¡Qué flipas! Oye, pero no he hecho lo que yo hice la vez que jugué. El García, bienvenido, corazón, gracias por tu alma, tesoro. Pero no me ha salido lo que yo hice la siguiente vez. ¿Qué hago, gente? Esto tiene pinta de trampa. Pero que esto es una trampa. A mí no me gusta que me jueguen con el cerebro, gente. Yo no quiero que me toquen el cerebro, gente. Hola, García. Confía, Sera. Escúchame, confiaría antes en Freezer prometiéndome uno de los deseos de las bolas de dragón antes que alguien del chat. La verdad, sinceramente. Ah, pues puede ser, porque es que es eso, esto yo no lo he hecho nunca.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Gente que dice que me voy a morir. Al Stanley para volver.
And realized he simply had too much to live for.
Gente que dice que me muero. Él es malo, el chat es bueno, mentira.
Nope, still on board with death.
Gente, si me da susto o me muero, voy a ir por el chat y voy a banear a todo el mundo que ha dicho que no pasa nada. No, lo hago yo, William, lo hago yo a mano. Vale. ¿Pero qué va a salir? ¿Alguien me va a pegar o cómo, gente? Nos vemos, Lozam.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Jesús, que no, que yo en este juego me asusté y lo tuve que quitar.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
¿Cómo lo sabe? ¿Cómo lo sabe? ¿Cómo lo sabe? Ah, sí, este pasillo tiene fin si corre, si no se hace eterno. ¿Me voy ahora? Sois unos cabrones. Sois unos cabrones. Rojo color del amor. De una a la trampilla. ¿Que me mató? Me da miedo mirar para atrás, gente. Me da miedo mirar para atrás, gente. Me voy a matar los Valiant.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Me da miedo el juego, gente.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever.
Hola,
What
Zaroz.
exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Zaro, bienvenido, corazón. Gracias por tu alma, tesoro. ¿Terminó? ¿Cómo que terminó? No veo nada. ¿Y ahora qué? ¡Ah! ¿Verdad?
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see
Díselo.
now? Do you
Díselo.
see that Stanley was already dead
dejas
from the
hablar?
moment he hit start?
Lo que me ha dicho. ¡Ah! ¡Es un mapa! ¡Qué guapo! ¡Qué guay! El solitario. Qué guay. Y no confiabas en el chat. Pero es que es eso, que esto es muy corto, ¿no? O sea, no ha pasado nada de lo que yo... ¿Y por qué hay tanto dinero? Esa mi oficina no era ahí. En las primeras etapas del desarrollo diseñamos un final en el que Stanley terminaba en un campo de batalla luchando contra alienígenas. Jericho, muchísimas gracias por el sub en YouTube. Diseñamos un final en el que Stanley terminaba en el juego de acción, cobraba conciencia y le declaraba la guerra al narrador. Era demasiado jocoso y literal para el tono del juego. Además, alguna persona interpretaba... Oh my god. Ok. acaba de hablar mi jefa. Un domingo. Me acaba de hablar mi jefa un domingo, gente. Bueno, ¿y ahora qué? Muy bonito todo, pero... Si Stanley entra a saberte, ¿what?
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see?
Sí, ok,
Can you
Valiant.
see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you
Hola,
move
Wolf,
forward, you'll
uno.
be picking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Mira dónde están los billetes de la foto, ¿eh? ¿Y si ahora hacemos todo lo que quiere? Eso todavía más fina con
All of
folio.
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Vamos a hacer
Stanley
lo que
decided
él
to go to the
quiere.
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¿Vale?
When Stanley came to a set of
Es que
two
es muy
open
corto,
doors,
vamos
he
a...
entered the door on his left.
Es que es muy corto, vamos a jugar un par de finales que son súper cortitos y le damos al Final Fantasy. Va a dar tiempo de jugar al Final Fantasy hoy 100%. Trata de quedarte ahí un rato. Yo sé que eso es algo, yo sé que eso es algo secreto.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
No te dejes controlar por el sistema fascista. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo va la vida? Esto es un logro. Esto es un logro, esto es un logro. 100%. Pues yo con mucho frío, Lord Valiant, yo con mucho frío. Creo que quieres una llave inglesa. No puedo coger nada. Esa como que brilla, pero no puedo hacer nada, no puedo coger. Para dar de hostias como el Bioshock, ojalá. Se acabó una tarde, gente. Qué divertido el jueguito, ¿eh? Qué divertido el jueguito. Yo jugaría al Bioshock, pero me da demasiado miedo, gente. Me encanta la historia. Ya no me va a hablar. No me va a hablar más nada, de verdad. Se enfada conmigo. A ver, meta de stream para el Bioshock. No podría jugar. Me daría demasiado miedo. Como los señores de IG, ¿what? Ah, los señores de Instagram. Gente, no me sigáis en Instagram. No lo uso. Lo tengo encandado y no lo uso. Y me llegan peticiones y no las voy a aceptar porque es que no lo uso. Seguirme en Twitter, seguirme en TikTok, seguirme en YouTube. En Twitch, por favor. Oye, no me dice más nada. Aburrido. Aburrido.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
No.
office.
No puedo coger esa nota, brilla mucho. Nos vemos, Lozan, tesoro. Una pausa para relajarte.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment
The
for no
fuck?
reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Es
And for that
verdad.
matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion
Hola,
that had
Noel.
been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it.
A ver si se calla.
I'm dreaming! he
A ver si se
yelled.
calla y te
This is
agradezco.
all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job.
Gracias
He
por
wasn't
tu alma. Ay,
He
Amanoder.
thought to himself, I
Gracias.
suppose I'll wake up soon.
Ay, Dios
To
mío,
go
cállate
back
ya.
to my
Qué raya,
boring
que me duele
real-life
la
job
cabeza,
pushing
tío. Que estoy
buttons.
malita,
I
tío.
may as well
Cállate.
enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too occurred. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken
Hola,
up.
Unam. Bienvenido,
How
corazón.
was
Gracias
he
por tu
remaining
alma.
so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
Se llama
Now the
esquizofrenia.
voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice
Es un loop.
describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it
Es
all
un
very
loop.
odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is
¿Qué
Stanley.
es eso?
I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman
What?
named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked
Hola,
to her place
Ofe.
of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then
Pupa?
she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that
Oye.
day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Hija de puta, me quedé mirando mis caras. Llama a una puta ambulancia, cabrona, ¿qué me estás contando? Llama una ambulancia. ¿Qué hacemos ahora?
All of his co-workers were gone.
Vamos a ir a
What
lo
could it
del
mean?
mental facility.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Eso no lo
Perhaps
hemos
he had
hecho.
simply missed a memo.
Eso no lo hemos hecho.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Cabrón. Es una fumada, desde luego. Y yo. Es que no es. Pues nada.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
Se me
office.
caen los cascos de reírme.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
Perdón.
That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
¿Qué? Gotta go fast.
Feeling
Ábrete.
soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Gotta go fast, gente, gotta go fast. ¿Estáis seguros de que no hay susto, no? Me estoy confiando ya. Vamos a entrar en el... Puta madre. En el control facility este.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
La verdad, asegurándose de que no hagas speedrun.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley
Así es
thought to
como se
himself.
siente
Did he have the
el...
strength to find out?
El súper de Gran Hermano, gente. Así es como se siente.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Qué guay. Inventar los X-Men.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He
Fire.
couldn't accept it.
Su
His
norma
own life
pringao.
in someone else's control.
La han despedido, gente. La han
It
despedido.
was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he
Qué
truly
agobio.
spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
¿Cómo? Me lleva haciendo backseating todo el juego y ahora no me dejan darle a los botones.
And when at last he found the source of the...
Calla, coño. ¿Ya está? ¿Y ahora qué?
blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled
Nos
himself
vemos
from
luego,
someone
Mila.
else's command. Freedom was mere moments away.
Ahora Geraldino.
Even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the
ni que
chamber,
fuese
he
yo quien
realized
Isaacster.
none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation,
Retrocede, ¿por qué?
the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Pues la verdad que sí que es un poco ZZZ, la verdad. Es un poquito ZZZ. Vale, ¿cuánto tiempo llevamos de stream, gente? Es que no quiero tener nada que sabe nada del trabajo un domingo, lo siento. Y si
All
vamos
of
por
his
otra...
coworkers were gone. What
Tenemos
did it
tiempo,
mean?
gente, tenemos
Stanley
tiempo.
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Un final más y le damos al Final Fantasy.
When
Me voy a
Stanley
meter
came
por la
to a
puerta
set
que
of
no
two
es.
open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
¿El nota me decía por la izquierda? Le acabo de hacer... Ok. Nada por aquí, nada por allá. No.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been
Esa
worth
es la
the
derecha
detour
que
after
dice.
all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Literalmente, gente.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
¿Esa era la derecha? No. Luego vemos el bot. Luego vemos el bot. No puedo saltar, ¿no? No. ¿Y esa puerta? ¿Nos da tiempo a hacer un final o incluso dos más?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Yo supongo que sí,
I realize that
conociendo este
investing your trust in
juego.
someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are
No.
you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful.
Mira.
Let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Me da miedo, gente. Pero la verdad es que ya estoy mucho más relajada. No buckets. ¿Por qué no buckets? Yo quiero un bucket.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
En principio no, pero la verdad es que da mal rollo.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here.
Paquito Vargas, bienvenido. Ah, gracias por el raid,
because you were never
tesoro.
supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate
Gracias por tu alma, Paquito. ¿Qué estabais haciendo?
What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback.
Ok.
There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Me da miedo el narrador, creo que en cualquier momento se va a enojar igualmente. Esta es la sala. Ah, sí. Perdón. Mueve por la izquierda. Hijo de puta.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. A 1? I mean, I can understand if you had reservations, you saw ways the game could be improved to more fully express itself mechanically and artistically, but a 1? That's not even helpful. What am I supposed to do with that?
I can't believe you
I guess it
found
isn't my
this.
place to judge. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Wow. Eso es gente de Steam.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
No.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting.
¿Qué es
You wouldn't mind taking a
eso?
look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
¿Qué?
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Oye, pues no hay tanta diferencia entre esto y el...
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm
Mimitas.
I'm done. It's over.
Tetas.
Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely
Culo.
valuable. Oh, hey, since my game is so
Pito.
awful, why don't we play someone else's game?
Easy.
Just to ease the
Es
pain.
fácil.
Let's see. What do we have here?
¿En serio, Frey? No.
Yes. This seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
No tan difícil. Este juego y el Callisto Protocol no son tan difíciles, ¿eh?
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is
¿Qué
our
he hecho?
motivation?
Había
Well, it
leído
seems
Málaga en
obvious
vez de
to me
Alaska.
that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent
Eso es
civilians below
Firewatch.
you from up high in your creep tower. Perhaps for
Oye,
some
¿me
sort
escucháis
of
bien?
twisted erotic purpose.
Sobre
Yes,
la voz del
that
nota.
must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Yo quiero vivir aquí, loco. Yo quiero vivir aquí, loco.
Oh no. No, it can't be.
¿Qué? Gomsin, bienvenido corazón, gracias por tu alma.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. A close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around. No right or wrong directions. No path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley.
Geraldino,
I'm
muchísimas,
going to get us
muchísimas
out of
gracias
here.
por tu alma,
Let's find
tesoro.
another game. Preferably
Tu alma,
something
tu
with
alma.
walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
Tiene que haber un sitio por el que... Esto
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind.
es Rocket League.
Just a nice big box for you to run around
Si
in.
tiene
There
hasta-
isn't any possibility
¿Qué?
that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
Esto es legal. ¿Cuánto le han pagado los
Okay,
del
so what
Rocket
exactly
League?
do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no race
La
track.
bandera de España.
Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We should run
Deporte
the bases
pelota.
and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Soy un coche, estoy como muy chiquita, ¿no?
Hold on. What are you doing?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
¡Qué miedo! ¡Qué mal rollo, loco! ¡Ay, que me has asustado! Daiki, muchísimas gracias por tu arma de tesoro. Me has asustado mi arma. Me has asustado. Ah, muchas gracias, tesoro. No te perdono. No te perdono. ¿Qué hago? He roto el juego. He roto el juego. Es que no sé dónde. Y tengo mucho miedo. Ah, esto es nuevo. ¿No? Voy a volverme. Vale, ahí hay una luz. Con tremenda oficina. Tremenda mesa de DJ. Y no puedo hacer nada aquí. Empieza la luz, Caroline. Una PC gamer. Ya, Santi.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Nos da tiempo a un final más.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the
Hay
employee
muchos
lounge
finales,
first,
se supone.
just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Es que hay muchas opciones, gente. Porque mira, me puedo ir por aquí. Que a saber qué cojones es por ahí. Puedo ir a donde fui antes y seguir el camino correcto. ¿Qué hago? No, antes me tiré por la de eso. Me tiré por el ascensor. Vamos a probar esto.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley,
Voy a
I think
seguir el
perhaps we've
ascenso.
gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not
Claro,
sure,
claro.
Stanley, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
Un segundo,
I'm not
gente.
asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Tengo frío. ¿Qué has dicho? No he dicho nada interesante, ¿no?
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Esto es. Aquí era donde yo dije. Pues yo jugué y tuve que hacer Alt F4 porque me dio mucho miedo. Es aquí, gente. Es esto. Menos 5 grados. Aquí hace... ...11. Qué raro. Normalmente hace mucho más frío. Aquí fue, gente. Aquí esto me da mucho miedo, gente. No. Hago un teléfono.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this.
Ok, Geraldino.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven.
Es que ahora se le va a poner la voz.
Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Muy blanca para mi gusto. ¿Puedes desenchufar el teléfono? Ah, la podría haber hecho eso.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him,
gracias por
except that
suscribirte en
he's chosen
YouTube.
this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands.
Gracias, Homsim.
And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Se la ha puesto cachondo, gente. Le pone cachondo el trabajo, gente.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions.
¿Por qué pone línea TM?
And he called it the Stanley Parable.
¿Qué hijo?
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Gente. ¿Y si no lo hago? Eso, ¿y si no hago nada? ¿Podéis escuchar el reloj? ¿Acaso somos nosotros los programadores? Ya ves. Que eso no es una mujer. Wills, muchísimas gracias por tu alma, tesoro. Bienvenido. No me puedo acostar. No puedo irme. No puedo hacer nada si no le digo eso. No sé decírtelo bien. ¿Qué es ese juego? Buenas tardes. Pues un juego muy rayante.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same
Hay que
buttons he
hacerlo.
always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he forgets
Pone
which
pene,
life is the
gente.
real one.
Pone pene, gente. Mi alma, yo no me voy a sentar aquí a esperarme que sean en punto. No. Satoshi, muchas gracias por suscribirte en YouTube.
And I'm trying to tell him this. that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
¿Lo hago? Buena, buena. Básicamente, Wills. Bienvenido, bienvenido. ¿Y si no lo hago? No me suelen dejar tocar nada nunca. Son unos saboríos. ¿Y si lo pulso, gente? Es que hay un sofá y ahí ya es que ni llego. Le voy a dar la U, gente.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
No puedo salir.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried. All of his co-workers were gone. What
Wow.
could it mean? Stanley
Se puso
decided to
raro.
go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
No me
simply
pagan lo
missed the memo.
suficiente, no me pagan lo suficiente. ¿Y esto de aquí qué?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Es que no he hecho el otro final. Voy a hacer
When
un
Stanley
final
came
más,
to a
¿vale?
set of 2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Voy a hacer... Es
The
que no he ido
lounge
por
was
el otro
sublime,
pasillo.
a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
He hecho todo menos esto.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
No me deja irme por otro sitio, gente.
Oh, no. No, it's to the right. My mistake.
Cabrón, pues te da acuerdo. Gracias por suscribirte.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh, dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
¿De verdad me va a dar susto otra vez? ¿De verdad de la buena?
No, 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 no. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
Pero si ya ha venido por aquí.
Okay, we just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding?
Pero si ya ha venido por
It's all
aquí.
rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
A la verga.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
A la
Stanley decided to go
verga.
to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Se lo
simply
recuerda
missed
a
a memo.
Matri, el show de Truman. ¡Eh! Aquí es donde ponía New Content. Ya no puedo acceder.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
No.
Did you move the story somewhere, or...
No.
Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Everyone knows what you did. They're just holding back to let you torture yourself. Todo el mundo sabe lo que hiciste, pero no te lo están diciendo para que te sigas torturando a ti mismo.
I'll say it.
El new
This is
content.
the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
No. Jo. Eso se aprecia como cuando hay promoción de televisores.
All of his co-workers
Totalmente.
were gone. What could it mean?
Loco.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ya no hay new content. Ya no hay new content.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Oye, ¿soy yo o el broom closet ya no existe?
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
What?
No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our step.
Me estás mareando, tío. Por favor, ponte de acuerdo. A la verga. Que me van a sacar
Now
los
this-
órganos aquí.
Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to
Madre
be doing,
mía.
how about this? You win! Congratulations!
Yes.
I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so
Hemos
good
ganado,
job.
ente. Hemos ganado.
Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Troleada, troleada.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
¿Y si no lo hago? Nombre genérico, bienvenido corazón, gracias por tu alma, tesoro. ¿Por qué no me habla el hombre?
No, I'm down. We're leaving it up to the line from now on.
Vago de mierda. Tengo que ir por ahí sí o sí. Una... Está un solitario, me voy a chivar al jefe. Me voy a chivar al jefe.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective
¿Qué me estás
construct?
contando?
Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that.
Tremendo porro
I
se ha
think what we
fumado,
need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
No, música otra vez, no. Parkour. ¿Qué es esto? Ya está, por favor, me duele mucho la cabeza.
Right. Cut the music. Go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Muy bonito. Muy bonito. Ay, yo estoy muy malita, ¿eh? Yo estoy muy malita. La brecha la llevaba un mapache y corrió por todos lados totalmente. La línea se fumó unos porros. Dios Santi, ¿qué cojones es esto, tío? Pues imagínate
Wait,
yo que estoy
we're back at the
malita,
office?
Geraldino.
No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Se para solo, tío.
Oh, no, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Y ahora no me...
Stanley, I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
No me gusta, no puedo no hacerle caso, gente.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley
Las
forging a
backroom,
new
gente.
path, a new story. Well, it could be anything.
Las
What do you
backroom,
want our
gente.
story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Loco. Ah. Oh. Vale.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story.
Literalmente
No
un
lines or
mapache.
monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Qué puto mal rollo, colega. Qué puto mal rollo. Tiene conciencia propia, eso parece.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic.
Lógica
Come, Stanley,
aplastante.
our destiny awaits.
Puta madre.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending.
Slender
You're
King,
telling me
muchas gracias por
that's
tu
what
alma,
this is?
tesoro.
It's all
Bienvenido.
one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times?
¿Dónde
That's really how
estoy?
all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will
Ah,
something
mira,
happen?
estamos aquí. Encuentra el cronograma.
So,
Reinicia.
okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey. Though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
¡Qué infarto! ¡Qué infarto. ¿Habéis
All of his
escuchado el
co-workers
pitido?
were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Vamos al new content. Vamos al new
Oh.
content.
New content? What does that mean, new content?
Ahí había una puerta, ¿no? ¿Y esa
Hello,
música de
and
miedo?
thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
¿Quién
The
dice home
Stanley
computer?
Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
Hola, acceso.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special
Stanley
yet,
Parable
but I'm
es
sure
eso.
it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere? Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Tengo miedo. Tengo miedo.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Un poco es eso. No es un juego de miedo, pero da muy mal rollo.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
¿Qué es esto? Wow, increíble, gente. Ala, ala, insta-kill.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
¿Por qué se corta?
Goodness.
Lo sé, lo sé.
Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Me van a dar miedo las oficinas a partir de ahora, gente.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stan,
Gente.
this is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley.
Tremenda
I built up too
puya.
much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Y no me deja elegir. Muy simpático, ¿eh? No puedo saltar. No puedo saltar.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
No.
You don't want to see the cool surprise I made? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares?
Ahora me siento mal.
Oh, never mind. You're not a dork.
Pone coffee nut. Gente, nut es como correrse en inglés.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
El Skyrim, gente.
I call it the memory zone. It's where I've been storing all
Literalmente
my
las
favorite
flores del
memories
Skyrim.
so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
You see,
Otro
Stanley, doesn't the memory
museo.
zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something.
La puya. La puya, gente. Había un logro en el Stanley Parable que era no jugar en 5 años. Wow. Unachievable, no se puede conseguir este achievement. What? Pero que me importa una mierda, tesoro, que quiero jugar. ¿Me va a dejar jugar? Por favor, déjame jugar. Por favor. No puedo saltar.
Je suis dans la memory zone, seul sur l'abri de l'eau, et je n'attends plus que toi, mon amour.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally
Se puso
every
raro Life
game
is
ever
Strange.
created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
No puedo abrir la gente. No tengo lecciones, gente. Puto juego. Me quiero ir de aquí, quiero jugar de
Here's another
verdad.
moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Tendrían que aplicarse el cuento. No puedo saltar. No puedo saltar, gente.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Pero eso era una de estos real. Y en plan, son reviews de verdad.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I?
Anda que no,
Tell me if
cabrón.
I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh,
¿Y?
goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game.
Ya
because
ves,
it feels
Aiken.
light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Hola, Galle, pues
A
aquí.
skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the
Noelia, bienvenida a Tesoro, gracias por tu alma.
proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Oh, you're back, you see? You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but
What?
it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination
Muchas.
and more of a treatise.
Tengo que
Or
ponerlo.
maybe a manifesto.
Ah, perdona, no sabía que podía.
Well, there's sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof.
Esperaba
It's
una
all
puerta.
over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been at... Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly
No
getting
puedo,
longer.
me
And my
quita,
God, there's
me
no way
quita
out of the
el
room.
puntero.
Stanley, Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just...
Qué lástima me da.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I
Qué
have had
lástima.
time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much...
Coño. ¿Qué pitido?
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic...
Oh my god. F. William. Tiene como un cooldown.
Never the end is 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 never the...
El fin nunca es el fin, 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 nunca es el fin. Hola, White Moonlight. Niña de lindo outfit. Ay, ahora lo echo de menos, gente. Las piedras están flotando, loco. Nos vemos, Geraldino. ¡Hala! ¿Qué ha pasado? Hola, Nosferatu. Pues la verdad es que sí. Skip. The fuck, esto es como el capítulo este de Futurama, que inventan una máquina del tiempo para ir unos segundos para adelante y al final acaban yéndose al fin del mundo. Hola, buena, Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. No puedo darle más. No sé, es como una especie de rework. Ahora Ezequiel. Da muy mal rollo, la verdad. A la verga. ¿Narrador?
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
No hemos hecho todos los finales, pero
Oh,
bueno.
good. You noticed my sign.
Oh,
Yes, I have
cabrón.
something very exciting to show you.
Como para no verlo, ¿sabes? Quiero ir para allá. New content, ¿eh? New content.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
¿Qué es esto, tío? Porque está todo lleno de 2. Me he enterado que estamos en la segunda. Por favor, me he enterado ya. Oh my
Here we
god.
are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
¿Habéis escuchado eso o eso era así, ha sido de mis cascos? El bebé ha crecido, gente. Espérate, ponía un botón que dice mi nombre. Ahora ya hay un cuarto ahí abierto que no debería de estar abierto.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever
Sí
name
o
that
qué.
is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim, developing a crippling substance
Ya,
addiction as Jim,
Ishune.
rediscovering yourself through
23
fringe religious
lerele.
groups as
23
Jim, and
lerele.
finally dying a slow death at an old age, surrounded by members of your cult as Jim. Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again, do it again.
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
¿Qué cojones es esto? ¿Qué cojones es esto? Es que no sé ni qué decir. Se vino totalmente. Es que no sé ni qué decir, gente.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Ese soy yo, se supone. Achievement.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers,
La
we hear
polla.
you, and I promise it will happen.
La polla,
What else? What
gente.
other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Ah, mira, todavía tengo un salto
You
restante.
know what, Stanley? I actually think the jump circle was a pretty good idea. I'd like to hang on to that for the sequel.
Ahora no puedo saltar. Ah, vale, que se gira, digo yo, eso estaba mirando para otro lado antes. Wow.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Dios santísimo, gente. ¿Qué es esto?
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Socorro, la verdad es que me está rayando un poco, gente.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right, infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the
Y no me he
bottom
roto
of
las
the hole.
piernas, me está
You found me
diciendo.
out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling.
Dios,
But
todas
no
las
one person
colillas.
actually wants to fall infinitely. I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we
3 años
didn't
después terminó el paseo
Why don't we just
negro.
put all this behind us and
Mucho
agree to
calcio.
just call the hole
Madre
mostly
mía.
infinite.
Ojalá tuviera yo estas piernas.
If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Ahora sí lo tengo que pulsar, ¿verdad? Ahora sí hay que pulsarlo. Nada, venga, vamos a pulsar.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Mosley Infinite Hall. Oh no. Oh Dios. Se ha picado, gente, se ha picado. Mira, relaja un ratito porque estoy cabreadísimo. ¿Qué ha pasado, Black? ¿Qué ha pasado? De verdad, se ha picado, se ha picado. Quiere uno infinito. Vamos a ir por la puerta esta rara. Ah, what? Esto ha cambiado, ¿verdad? Pues porque ha mentido, nos ha engañado. De que hemos sido engañados.
Goodness, Stanley, this is fairly awkward. I hate to do this, but before you leave, you really should go to the bucket exhibit. You see, there's a surprise I was going to spring on you later, and it involves the bucket. And I really do hate to break the illusion, but it's important that you go see the bucket, okay? All right, I'll get out of your hair now.
Vamos a verlo. Vamos a ver los cubos, gente. Eres francés Black, has
Okay,
perdido.
I'll be honest, I haven't
En
yet
el
decided
fútbol.
on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration. like balloons, but I'm undecided on get well someday and happy 12th birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get well someday it is.
¿Para qué me preguntas si me va a ignorar, cabrón? Merch.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
¿Y dónde está lo de los buques? You are dreaming the game. The water says you. The fuck? The fuck?
Epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the... well, we'll figure that out later.
Ah, mira dónde estaba. Lo de los cubos. Puta madre. Vale. Hay que entrar por aquí para ver lo de los cubos. Cabrón. Pues nada, pues a ver los cubos, gente. A ver los cubos.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well?
Claro.
I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2. Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
¿Puedo subir ya por la escalera? Ahora sí, ¿no? Deja una maleta, eso tiene una bomba dentro, gente. Eso tiene una bomba dentro, gente. Qué buen padre, la verdad. Bueno, tú sabes, está un poco asqueroso.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's
Juegazo, gente,
okay,
Goti.
never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly wouldn't? I suppose it could. But it would need a really
Tío, mucho
tremendous title screen.
texto.
A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Vale.
This is the story of a
Vale.
All of his
Y
co-workers
luego
were
lo-
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it? Stanley picked up the bucket.
Gente.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it
Vale.
was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this
¿Qué
obvious
es eso,
fact.
gente?
He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. No, stop. Look there on the wall, you see? There's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point."
Esto lo vimos al
Stanley, how could you think it
principio.
was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Vale.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
¿Perdón?
Item 2. Is this a bucket? Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
¿Qué es esto, gente? ¿Qué es esto?
Item 3. Is this a bucket? Incorrect. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket? What? Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a
un
gimmick.
bucket.
How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one. Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket.
¿Perdón?
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
¿Qué?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere. Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true, unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket?
¿Qué le digo?
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry, but I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go.
¿Qué es
What
eso?
happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. My God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue. But it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person. All right, here we go.
The fuck? ¿Y si no cojo el cubo?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Oye, no,
he
ni siquiera
entered
me ha
the
dicho
door
que lo
on his left.
coja.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach. Giddy in a way he had, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No hemos hecho esto, creo.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
No, aquí no se puede entrar. Vale. Y ya
Yet
está,
there
esto
was
es
not a single
todo.
person here either. Feeling
Esto
a
es
wave
todo.
of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs
Pero
to
si
his
ya lo
boss's
hicimos
office.
antes. Esto ya lo hicimos antes. Los hemos hecho todos, Frey.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
¿Y el cubo dónde está? Ay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Me dejé uno. Vamos.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Por aquí. Frey. Por aquí sería.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping him coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Okay. Esto antes no se podía abrir. The fuck. ¿Qué es esto? Se ha quedado buena tarde, gente. Se ha quedado buena tarde, gente. Qué ganas tengo de jugar Final Fantasy. Nos da tiempo a jugar Final Fantasy. ¿Ah, no? La para abajo ahora. Tiene que haber aquí un final, ¿no? En serio.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, 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 dark secrets, the keypad, Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Kill Supreme.
Así me gusta, rapidez.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Wow. Madre mía. Llaves Faiken. De decoración. Siempre me asusta el cacharro ese cuando explota.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Me muero si voy para allá, Daiken. ¿Por aquí? ¿Frey? Ah, este ascensor. ¿Puedo subir?
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
Ah, no, vale, sí, digo, esto es diferente. No puedo.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Pero me va a contar toda su vida
Now
entera.
he's getting back into the elevator and going
Cada
down
vez que haga
again.
esto.
Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this? Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me. Oh my God, it's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this. Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process.
Ah, de verdad.
All right, I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview, of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
Ya ni me habla.
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the
¿Quién
anticipation.
va para el ascenso, cabrón, que me da
You and
miedo?
I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we
Nosotros
given
jugando
time to
al Final
imagine the surprises,
Fantasy.
to have to think and to anticipate
Este
and
final
then to
y
marvel at
jugamos
the
al Final
eventual
Fantasy.
reveal? This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years. And it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations
Mucho
over and
narrador.
over. Truly, I mean it.
Mucho
This is
texto.
unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley, because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why, though I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you. So that you can
Loco,
talk about
cállate
your
ya,
work and your
tío,
storytelling and your
cállate.
life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here.
Hala.
Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
Me arrepiento, me arrepiento.
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door. All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get 'em.
¡80 porros han fumado los developers! Antes de pasarnos al Final Fantasy, vamos a volver a abrir a ver qué pasa, ¿vale? Nuestro amigo, el de las... El del principio, a ver qué pasa. Shut the fuck up. Stop being a fucking cunt. Es un crack, es un crack. ¿Qué hora es? ¿Alguien lo sabe en verdad? Claro que no, nadie sabe nada. Tú y yo ni siquiera nos conocemos, somos como desconocidos. Sí, ajusté todas las configuraciones del juego exactamente como querías, pero ¿quién no lo ha hecho? Es lo que hago, es mi trabajo. Y ahora el trabajo está hecho. No tengo más información que reunir. Ya conseguí de ti todos los datos que puedo. Y sigo sin saber quién eres en verdad. Y tú no sabes quién soy yo. Y ninguno de nosotros sabe qué hora es. Supongo que algunas configuraciones son inconfigurables. Pero para serte sincero, el reloj no hace nada en el juego de todos modos. No estaré aquí la próxima vez que inicies el juego, pero no pasa nada. Los videojuegos están hechos para que se jueguen en soledad. Te gusta estar en soledad, ¿no? Quizás eso sea lo único que realmente sé de ti. Bueno, es hora de que me vaya. Hay una configuración más que debemos ajustar, pero todavía no estoy en condiciones de hacerlo. No es mi trabajo, pero no pasa nada. Quizás me veas de nuevo, si puedes encontrarme. Hablar pronto. No, mi amigo. Mi amigo, gente. Por una vez que hago un amigo. Cachilama.